Greetings everyone. Today we'll discuss about communicable diseases. This is the part of D-Pharm first year syllabus of HECP. We'll discuss today intestinal infections, and we'll discuss about the causative agent, mode of transmission and prevention of typhoid, food poisoning and hookworm infection. So this is our plan of study, that is the communicable disease, intestinal infection, causative agent, mode of transmission and prevention of these three diseases, that is the typhoid, food poisoning and hookworm infection. So now first to start with typhoid. Typhoid is an intestinal infection caused by microorganism called Salmonella typhi. It is a waterborne disease. Infection occurs through fishes, urine, etc. Transmission mainly occurs through contaminated water and food. It is also transmitted by finger and flies. So Salmonella typhi is the causative microorganism. And mode of transmission, as I told you, that is through water. Now symptoms: mild to moderate fever for 3 to 4 weeks if not treated. The fever increases 1 degree every day. This is called step ladder pyrexia. That is the phenomena of increasing fever 1 degree every day is called step ladder pyrexia. There could be irregular heart rate and relative bradycardia. That is irregular heart rate and bradycardia. That is the sometime it may increase or sometime heart rate may decrease. Irregular beating of the heart. There could be headache, body ache, back pain, pain in the neck and restlessness. This is the common symptoms. Tongue becomes dry and mouth also becomes dry. These are the symptoms of typhoid fever. This is also called enteric fever. Typhoid and paratyphoid fever is also known as enteric fever. Prevention: the patient must be quarantined or isolated to prevent spread of the infection. The patient should be treated with broad spectrum antibiotics like chloramphenicol, ciprofloxacin, etc. Urine and stool must be disinfected properly. Disinfected and disposed. You see here you can see that is the latrine, and from there if stool is there, the bacteria may travel to the nearby well, and from that well it can infect this person. So the stool and urine must be disinfected and disposed properly. Source of infection must be detected and suitable measures must be taken in this type of incidents. Where from the infection is coming, that source must be taken, otherwise the disease will occur repeatedly. Immunization may be done by TAB vaccine, though it is not very much effective. Infection should be detected early with blood and stool culture. Blood and stool culture is the confirmatory test for the typhoid and paratyphoid infection. Widal test is used to detect typhoid and paratyphoid infection. So next is food poisoning. So what is food poisoning? Food poisoning is an acute gastrointestinal disturbances caused by ingestion of microorganism and toxins of the microorganism, some chemicals or some animal toxins, etc. can cause food poisoning. So food poisoning, it can most of the time it is due to the bacterial infection. However, especially in parties or receptions where lot of food are prepared in utensils which are used in other places also. So if it is not cleaned properly, if microbial sample are present in it, then what will happen? So when fresh food is poured into it, then that microbes can multiply there and cause infection to all the invited guests. This is the common food poisoning occurring to the people. However, sometimes pesticides, during cleaning, some pesticides or some type of soap or some type of toxin, if it is mixed with the food, then the infection can occur. So even some microorganism is present in the food, if you heat it, microorganism will die, but their toxin will remain in the food. So as a result, what will happen? Though microbial infection is not there, food poisoning can still be occur. So two types of the food poisoning we divide it in broadly: bacterial food poisoning and non-bacterial food poisoning. Bacterial food poisoning occur due to contamination of food by some bacteria and their toxins. So only bacteria is causing and their toxin is causing this type of food poisoning. Bacteria involve many types of bacteria. So there is, unlike other diseases, here lot of bacteria, different types of bacteria are involved, like some Salmonella species. Not Salmonella typhus, Salmonella other species, they are involved in food poisoning. Streptococcus, some Streptococcus species, Clostridium botulinum and Clostridium perfringens, Bacillus cereus, etc. are the microorganism which may cause, which may cause, this is the food poisoning. So one or the multiple infection may occur, that is one or two or more types of microorganisms could be present in the contaminated food. Non-bacterial food poisoning occurs due to ingestion of chemicals like fertilizer, pesticides, and plant and animal toxin, etc. can cause non-bacterial food poisoning. So symptom and characteristic. So infection generally occurs to many people simultaneously. Food poisoning or many people, generally it occurs after attending a party or reception or mass gathering or in a fair, so where lot of people take food from a common source, there infection, this type of infection occurs. So infection occurs to the many people simultaneously. All the people generally had taken the food from a common source. As I told you earlier, that thing happens. And after that, what happens? What kind of symptom we see? Diarrhea, loose motion will be there, bellyache, there is a cramp in the belly, and abdominal pain, discomfort, restlessness, nausea, vomiting, etc. are common symptoms of food poisoning. Next, we will discuss about the prevention and control of the food poisoning. The first source of infection and source of contamination must be detected, and contaminated food must be disposed properly. This contaminated food, if it is consumed by other people, they may also get the infection. Personal hygiene of the cook, food handler must be maintained. Those cooks, from infection may come, contamination may come from their hands only. If they are infected or mild infection is there in their body, then from them only the infection can enter into the food. Smear of other susceptible material must be tested periodically. That is, the sample from the material should be taken, a smear should be prepared, and that should be tested for the presence of various type of bacteria. All food material must be covered to prevent entry of the fly or other insect, or to prevent any harmful material from dropping into it, and lid should be there, and it should be stored properly. Food must be stored in a refrigerator. If after cooking the food you will serve after some time, then it must be stored in a refrigerator. Suppose you have cooking it from the morning, and your program is in the evening. In that case, it is better to store the food material in a refrigerator. And if infection is there, if microbial food poisoning is there or bacterial food poisoning is there, antibiotics should be used. Next is hookworm infection. This is not a microbial infection. This type of infection occurs due to ankylostoma or Necator type of worm. This type of worm, they cause microbial infection. So you see, you can see here the microbes, they are entering into the food through any broken portion of, if there is any broken skin in your foot, so microbe will enter into your leg and they travel to through the lymphatic system and reach lungs. From lungs they will reach to the other part of the, mainly intestine. Also they will go to the liver. Okay, so when the infected person defecate, there are eggs of the this ankylostoma or Necator type of worm. They form larva and form new larva of the worm is formed. This worm will face. This is the life cycle of the hookworm. Now symptom: loss of appetite, that is you will not feel like eating. Weight loss, there is abnormal loss of weight. Tiredness and loss of blood. As a result of this loss of blood, the anemia may occur. There could be abdominal pain, itching in the anus. Mode of transmission, we have already discussed. Hookworm infection occurs due to pollution of soil with fecal material. Larva of the worm enters through the skin of the broken skin of the legs. After penetration, it enters into the lymphatic system and from there they are carried to the internal organs like lungs, etc. From lungs it can enter into the alimentary canal and other part of the body. Either you see this picture, what I described here, it is there in this picture. So this is the symptom. Prevention: sewage system and sanitation must be improved. Open defecation must be avoided, that is the toilet must be used. Excreta must be disposed properly and barefoot walking must be avoided. Excreta, that is the stool, etc. That must be disposed properly. Barefoot walking must be avoided. How? Now by wearing of shoes or chappals. Anthelmintic drugs, if infection occurs, anthelmintic drugs like mebendazole, albendazole, pyrantel pomade, etc. must be used. This is the albendazole, this tablet that is taken once in a week for consecutive 2 times. So that is the Sunday if you are taking the drug, again next Sunday you will take it. Generally twice it is taken, but in some cases it can be given for 3 times. So anemia may occur as there is loss of blood occurs due to sucking of blood by this parasite. Then blood amount may be reduced. In that case, hematinics, that is we supplement blood. Now health education, the awareness of the people, that is those things we have already discussed, that is the use of shoes, use of toilet, proper sanitation, use of proper drinking water. Those are the part of the health education. So that must be given to the people and they should be encouraged to prevent soil pollution. So this is all about 3 diseases. I thank you for watching.